The White House says it's negotiating with Senate Democrats to end the partial government shutdown, but there's no clear end in sight. Both sides remain divided over funding for the Department of Homeland Security. Democrats insist on ICE reforms before they will agree to fund DHS. Republicans are pushing back.
We all swore an oath of office to make sure that the federal government is obeying the law and the Department of Homeland Security is not obeying the law. Everyone has seen the videos of ICE tear gassing elementary schools, disappearing legal residents, murdering American citizens. We'll vote to fund ICE when they make commitments to start behaving.
Some elected Democrats are so committed to the idea that you shouldn't be able to deport anybody that they're willing to put at risk the lives of local police, the lives of federal law enforcement to ensure that it's as hard as possible to enforce the border.
All right, let's bring in CBS News congressional correspondent Nikole Killion. Nikole, the White House and the Senate Democrats have been trading counteroffers for a week and a half. Is there any headway with the latest proposals?
Well, according to the latest statements that were issued by both White House officials and officials representing congressional Democratic leadership, both sides are still pretty far apart. That was according to a White House official, although that official noted that the administration remains committed to engaging in good faith negotiations. We heard similar language from a pair of spokespersons for leaders Hakeem Jeffries and leader Chuck Schumer, indicating that, they have continued working through language and additional issues to try to make some progress here, but they feel Republicans have largely ignored what they say are core guardrails that Americans are demanding. And of course, we know this all started with Democrats putting forth a pretty long list of proposals that they say are needed to, quote, rein in ICE, everything from agents removing masks, making sure they carry proper identification, making sure they wear body cameras, that a uniform code of conduct is enforced, that they use judicial warrants before entering someone's home. But the White House and administration officials have pushed back against some of that, particularly this issue of warrants and, this prohibition on masks. So unclear what the next steps might be. But in talking to some lawmakers, they still remain hopeful that there can be a resolution.
Okay, well, if we don't see a resolution here, Nikole, what kind of impact could we see from a potential shutdown, and when could that happen?
Well, I think, the impacts are already being felt by those workers who may already be furloughed. Look, the Department of Homeland Security put out a pretty lengthy release last night, just warning that this does impact the safety and security of Americans. So, for instance, when we're talking about TSA, the agency warns that officials, travelers could see longer wait times, particularly if we start to see call-outs by some of those TSA workers. They warn, for instance, with respect to Coast Guard families, that military housing for some of those families could be at risk because they may not be able to pay some vendors. Or, you look at FEMA, obviously they have enough money for disaster relief, but they warn that that money could eventually run dry the longer that this shutdown drags on.
All right, Nikole Killion for us on the Hill. Thank you, Nikole.